episode 44 of the Treatment Room Secrets podcast. I am here with Michael's son. Um, you have a very cool name,
Thank you.
very eye-catching. And I was tempted if I should start with Coach Michael's son or first ask about Michael's son, the person, but I want to start with the profession because, as we said offline, I was introduced to you in a very weird way, or new for me. Usually, when I travel the world, I never hear of someone telling me that their coach is based in my backyard. So it's always a good opportunity to reach out to someone in around me and sit down with you and learn from you. And I want to, for myself, also better understand what do you coach. So I want to start there, and I know it can be also broad and take you to different directions. So let's start with Levi, our mutual friend.
All right.
How do you help him?
Wow. Okay.
Because we are, and I know we're starting a very direct, but it's because Levi introduced to me a whole world of kettlebells that I did not know was associated with the piece of equipment kettlebells. And I am eager to hear from you, and I think you'll expand that even more for me. So it'll help me if we start with Levi, and then we can take it from there
Gladly.
into deeper realms.
Yeah, I'm always glad to start with Levi. Levi is amazing. And actually, first of all, nice English pronunciation. I was expecting the American one, the one I have at least, what I've learned. And I'm here like, welcome to that, and like this English. So,
Proper
English, not American though. All right, Levi. I'm a coach, and I am what I've... like when I started, okay, like slow, just to get us into the context. When I began coaching, I came from theater, okay, so I transferred to fitness from theater. I wasn't an athlete. I just wanted to make an impact on people. And since I discovered that, okay, in theater, here in Israel, how things went, and I've learned things about myself. So, okay, I'm going to let it go because it's too holy for me. I'm coming from USSR. It's the different concept of theater, but I want to really shake people up. Okay, and how can I do it?
So you started with theater.
I started like a proper Soviet boy. I tried to be an electrician. Okay, be a proper man. Okay, like be a human being, as like Soviets says. Like don't get this. Professions like actor or like be a human being, okay, be an engineer, whatever. So I did my best, and then actually in my first year when I really I discovered radio, student radio. So eventually I did jazz podcast, like basically jazz show, and this is how my first year went. I flunked all the grades, and I said, all right.
As a student,
Like math and everything, I said it's not for me. It's like so I searched. I went to theater because I really liked it, and
you wanted to shake people up. You said,
yeah, and like it's back to my history. But let's finish with Levi first.
Yes.
And yeah, I wanted to shake people up because to me, theater is like a good cinema. You need to come out of it thinking, reminiscing, not comfortable. Okay, not drinking coffee, eating and forgetting what you saw. This is show, this is entertainment. You have great showmen and great performances to enjoy. Theater, in my thing, it doesn't have to be depressing, right? But it's have to leave you with, like this feeling that like okay, like something happened.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, it won't happen in theater because the price was too heavy to me. And I said, okay, fine. And I searched. I said, okay, I come to fitness because I had my back issues and I solved it for myself. And my wife said, listen, you like helping people, so like why don't you try? It's fitness. And I said, okay, it's shaking people off, but not like stadium and theater, like not hundreds of peoples, but I'll do it one by one. Fair enough. So kind of where this started. So I never was like in the bodybuilding and powerlifting and performance. I searched for really like this deeper meaning. For me, like the best way now I describe myself is intentional, like, fitness. I don't like this word, but intentional movement. Okay, intentional practice.
Yeah.
So you do things with intention for results. Okay, but it beyond the barbell. So this is how for me it went, and I've met Levi, not met, I saw him do his crazy strengths, epic stuff with Turkish get-ups
Yeah.
because I love this exercise.
Yeah, that was his video that kind of went viral on
Yeah,
YouTube.
no, listen, guy who does about almost 100 kilograms, it goes viral because this exercise is, whoever done it with a barbell, like kettlebells are hard enough. With that kind of barbell was like, and I thought, wow, like who is this man? And then I heard the podcast about him. It was the time when I really was into like listening every fitness podcast and coaching, and I was studying and absorbing knowledge and doing kettlebell basically at the same time. I began to touch this tool, and it took me on the journey of its own. And I kind of followed Levi because, like everybody followed Levi. Like, see Levi does is like it's feats of strength and like, all right. Uh, and then I saw him do kettlebell sport. Now, for me, kettlebell sport is the same sacred thing as theater was, because it's beyond the sport. Okay, so the word sport is a bit.
Yeah, so what is kettlebell sport?
Okay, so basically, kettlebell sport is an endurance event. Okay, you have two kettlebells or one kettlebells. It's a classic event, and you need to do maximum repetitions in a given time. So the classic sport event is 10 minutes. You have double kettlebells. Now, by the regulations of the World Federation, if you're an amateur, you can do it only with 24 kilo, like either double 24 kilos for jerk and long cycle, like the events. It's very similar to the barbell clean and jerk. So you put bells up and you put them above the head, or you're just putting them above the head. So you have maximum repetitions within 10 minutes, and then you have snatch. This continuous movement, one arm, you are putting the bell above the head, one hand switch, which makes it very, very challenging. Again, for maximum repetition. And then you see people like at the top or top level amateurs, and you see their numbers. And it's basically like trying to run against Ethiopians or African people. Like you're saying, like it's not happening. Like the margin is huge. Okay, to really meet these numbers, and pros do it.
What numbers are we talking about? For the 10, should we use the 10 minutes as our reference?
Yeah, so, no, because 10 minutes is a classic event. It's let's roll back. Kettlebell sport originated in the Soviet Union under the Soviet Federation of Weightlifting. So basically, if you couldn't be a weightlifter to represent your country in the Olympiad or in the World Championship, you go lift kettlebells, okay? Because you're weak. You're weak to lift barbell. You go lift kettlebells for repetitions. So it was like this, and it's
as a way of keeping people fit and keeping people strong?
No,
but
I don't recall that in Soviet Union we had fitness per se. We had sport, we had athletics, and if you were joining some sport discipline, you were there to produce results. Okay, amateurism wasn't promoted. It was kind of a bit shameful. Fitness from America as we know it today, Jane Fonda, Schwarzenegger, whatever. Classes came later. It came slowly by the 19th. But before that, it was sport. So weightlifting, you did weightlifting as they treated you as future be professional, and you train like an athlete, and what you could do, you've done.
And the good ones get sent to represent the country.
Yeah.
So who are the people that get sent in this example to go lift kettlebells?
Poor flexibility in the shoulders, and people who didn't meet the criteria in numbers. So in every sport you have, when you start as a teenager, you have a margin of maybe 2 years to 3 years to make master of sport, which is pretty standard for the sport and for Soviet Union. Now we like think about it like, wow, these numbers, but there it was kind of, like this.
Standard.
Yeah, absolute. And if you couldn't, or you like for whatever reasons back, like go lift kettlebell. So it's kind of created there, and simultaneously it was also in the army. So it was a way to train like Soviet soldiers. They lifted kettlebells, they jerked, they snatched, they swang, they did swings. But again, it's the sports style. And they had their own like within the army competition. So many pro athletes came out of Soviet army, because this is what they did. They were soldiers. Everything they were taken care for.
They outperformed and they would smash them. Yeah.
They like slept, lifted. Basically, this is what they do. They brought honor to their unit. Okay, so the numbers are in snatch, like for people to understand, in 24s, women now do around 200 repetitions. Now, very few men can meet these numbers. One hand switch, and we're talking about girls who look pretty, okay, slim, okay, no truck drivers, okay, no women beyond 100 kilograms, okay, like 60
So 200
pounds.
The good ones. The good ones reach that.
200 repetitions.
Yeah. Okay. So how much would a regular fit guy who doesn't have experience in this type of endurance?
So people, when they try, they make about around...
I'm thinking about myself here.
It's technique. So this is the thing. It's technique, but like they make 170, 160 reps, and it takes very long time to get there. Okay, and it doesn't sound much until you lift the kettlebell and you understand what's going on. Pros, I've participated in the training camp, and I saw guys like off the street, basically coming and doing 250 repetitions with 24, and for them it was something like it's almost embarrassing. Like it's 32, and 32 is the weight, is the pro weight. So if you're a pro athlete, you do only 32s. And in 32s, I don't believe, maybe somebody surpassed 200, but the record was about 197, 96 repetitions for snatch. And it was about 170, almost maybe 180 for jerk, it's grueling exercise. It's super hard. It's mentally.
It looks horrible.
Yeah, no, it is horrible. Like, nothing Soviet is nice and fun, okay? And it's mental.
Yeah.
So
for the women, we're talking about like roughly 200 repetitions in 10
one
minutes.
of them, the Yuhina, who was like the queen, and she was really like this. She is, but she's now married and she doesn't lift anymore, but she is a very beautiful girl. And it was like something like she's a beautiful girl who does, and I believe she made it almost to 197 repetitions.
Wow.
And she's slim, and it's technique, and it is heavy. So
and men though, what numbers are we talking about?
And like many men in 24s got beyond. I have there is a coach who did 300 repetitions within 10 minutes, Fyodor Fuglev. Genetics, like crazy guys. But guys go beyond, and with 32s, guys grind 140, 150,
So does Eli do 32s?
Levi do 32s. We are now preparing again for the long cycle, hoping to meet Master of Sport. The goal is to get him to 70 with 32s, which is hard. Okay, so very few people went beyond 100 in long cycle.
70 reps of one arm switches.
No. We are doing 2-arm long cycle. So it's 2-arm clean and jerk above the head.
But okay, so 2 kettlebells though.
Yeah,
it's 2 kettlebells.
It's 2 32s.
Yeah.
64 kilos for 10 minutes, and it is
non-stop.
horrible.
And are you allowed to take a break if you want to? No break.
The
So once you put the
beauty-
kettlebell down, the game is over.
Yeah, so the beauty of kettlebell is kettlebell is life, but it's for the later.
The beauty.
The beauty of kettlebell sport is that you cannot place them. Like the moment that you put them down, your set is finished, but your score is kept for you. So whatever you did, it's yours. In Kettlebell Marathon League, which I took part two, and Levi does to participate, you if you put the bell before the clock, and marathon we're talking about half an hour if it's half marathon, or an hour if it's a full marathon. If you put the bell before the clock, it's zero.
Mhm.
So the game is tougher.
So
Okay.
you have to keep it up for 60 minutes no matter
Yeah,
what.
you must keep it. And it's good because it eliminates smart asses, like strong people who just does two very quick sets and then put the bell down. You must respect, and I love it very much.
Yeah.
You must respect the clock, and you must stand. And in Girevoy sport, in classic Girevoy sport, it's the same. Like in the championships, will really like pro athlete go all out at some time, put the bells a bit earlier than 10 minutes. But usually it's the mindset. It's like the Japanese, culture and respect. You do not put the bells before 10 minutes. Like you do everything, like to respect this thing of, okay, like the clock will tell you. So when you touch the bells, okay, like find a way.
Yeah. So how do you help Levi? How do you coach Levi remotely from here?
Uh, Google Docs, the best investment. Like I
But
build.
but in terms of like you're building training programs for him?
Yeah. So what I do, I create training cycles, and my cycles, my training programming are organic for the lifestyle or for the person. I
Yeah.
don't do templates, and we manage life as it happens, because you may have good intentions, but life has better plans for you, and none of us knows what next week will bring. So when you're programming, I said, okay, like we have this week, let's do it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes stuff happened and you don't meet. Sometimes you get sick. Now the program must change, okay? And that's why template don't work. I can send you a month.
It's like diets.
Yeah, okay. I can send you a month, and the probability that you will actually finish it like I wrote it is almost zero, because something will happen. It's life, okay? We can't like.
Yeah.
It's very stupid and arrogant for humans to pretend that it's not and we are above. No, we don't. Okay, so this is how I coach. I write, and Levi is a fighter, and like his goes all in. And again, like the results is because it tries, but he's human. So things happen, and we're working around them. Okay, time restrictions, energy levels, overall stress, and stress is a huge factor because people don't understand that the stress from work and from life and from relationship, it's the same stress hormones that from lifting. So if you are stressed in your environment and you're coming to the platform to lift, your body doesn't know that it's from relationship, but haven't touched the barbell or the kettlebell. It doesn't care. You're already beginning in a fatigued state, stress-wise. And if you don't know how to manage it, you will either get injured. It's the worst case scenario. The better scenario that you will just go into overtraining, and you will just, put the bells or whatever down and say, like, I cannot handle it. If you're smart, you will leave.
And is there a third option of just continuing and plateauing?
Usually not, because, plateau frustrating. And the third option is the program hopping. Basically, what we see, you think that it's not for me. Or this plan is not working. Okay, and
Blaming the plan. Yes.
and sometimes plans not work. And it depending on a coach. Like as with everything, you have better professional. Like you have good salesmen, and you have good coaches. Not necessarily is the correlation.
Yeah.
Work wise, familiarity wise, how like on the internet how much people approach you. But let's take coaches aside for a second. If the plan, okay, don't take into consideration your life work balance, sleep, everything, eventually you will either plateau, you will hit the wall, or you will get injured, because it
You're saying it's unrealistic because even you miss one. Let's say you miss one night of sleep, you have a baby at home.
Yeah.
You miss one night of sleep, it has to change your next day's
Uh,
training plan. No.
yes and no. So we have some spare budget energetically. You can push it. So if you didn't sleep for one night, nothing will happen. And we're not talking about pro athletes here that you need to go to Olympiad, where it's like the
Yeah.
100th of a second.
Yeah.
All right, you're doing the work, you will be fine. But if you continue not to sleep, and the baby, and you get irritated, it will take it toll. So the plan must be modulated. Be it I'm cutting workouts into the little smaller chunks, or you have like this concept of program minimum and program maximum. It come from Soviet Union. Program minimum is the essence of what you must do. Okay, it's like lift and go home. That's it. Okay, if you want to do like 10 minutes, if you're going for 10 minutes, let's say, you have a goal, do just that, leave. If you have like you slept all as well, you have a plan maximum, which is your essence and the general physical around it. So you do your stretching, you like assistant muscles, like you have this luxury of training. And sometimes you come, you warm up, you do some 10-15 minutes set, and you go home. And like people have some, again, it's the industry.
Yep.
Eventually it's about money, and they're selling concept and then telling concept, and in people's minds sometimes it's get distorted, like 15 minutes is not a workout.
I know my mind's distorted too. It is, because even though I know what everything you said, it's a difficult hurdle to get over. Because also for me, it's either 60 minutes or 0 minutes.
You see, and you have a big margin, and sometimes you have 5 minutes and it's a workout because of it. Like you have this endless chain, okay, for 12 weeks or probably for life, for years. The workout, the standalone practice,
Yeah.
is meaningless and is insignificant, absolutely, alas, it's continuing something that came before that, and it's a foundation for something to come above it later. So in that case, sometimes 5-10 minutes are fine because you made some closure and you prepared something for the next time. And so, busting, like I do love from time to time, spending gym like 3 hours and I do some lifting and it's fun. And if I have the time for these hybrid protocols, I can do like kettlebells and some powerlifting style and it works. But in times when I was preparing for my like half Ironman and my coach, I told him like, what about kettlebells and what about this? And said like, he gave me some snatches like for me to feel better. And eventually I understood later. And you see, this is like, we live in the retrospect. Time moves backward, not forward. So in retrospect, I understood why he did not give me anything, because he told me, listen, you have your foundation of strengths that you've built. You don't need it. Let it go. Like this half Ironman is hard enough. Like don't do anything. And when I tried to be smartest, I almost injured myself and completely compromised my half Ironman event because I did deadlifts. They were easy. Like, it wasn't even the weight. It was the overall stress of a body. Deadlifts were what is called, the concept is junk work. They were absolutely junk work, junk reps. And I almost got my Achilles tendon inflammation. So and it was the oh shit moment, he said. And my coach said, listen, I have a saying, if you want results, follow the plan. If you don't want results, don't. And I said, yeah, I'm sorry. I will behave. And I almost did not run. And he again, and like my coach, like this is what I've learned from, and his name, Dmitry Davidik, is like he's a kettlebell champion that made the transformation for Ironman events, half Ironman triathlons. And he managed, like week by week, slowly tweaking, and this is like what I've learned from him, my intensity, bring me to the half Ironman, almost without running. And eventually I did my best half marathon time after I swam and biked. And then in retrospective, again, you see like this length of a program and you understand that like these junk sets I've done for me to feel better, to complete the workout, to pump some iron in the gym, and that was absolutely redundant. They gave me nothing. They almost compromised everything.
So that's a good way to look at it. But we are, to some degree, I said even me, addicted to doing that extra of what we think is beneficial, like finishing the workout with some burpees, because you know that you're going to finish it with a high heart rate, with some sweat, with some, swole muscles. So people, even me, like, I'm trying to pull myself out of it slowly, but we tie, sweating and burning calories with a successful workout. But key, I think what you said is any movement that you're doing, and it ties to one of your first phrases, the like movement with intention, is it needs to be intentional to the degree where it needs to be at least continuing something.
Exactly. So intentional lifting, so this is the original concept. Intentional lifting, yeah, it resides on people, like, first of all, again, we've been sold, like, pretty wife equals happy marriage, or wealthy husband equals happy marriage. It's not. Okay? If you're coming a pile of sweat out of a workout, it doesn't mean that you had a sweaty workout. Okay? You've pumped your heart rate and you've sweat. Okay? If it was your immediate goal, for whatever reason, all right, fine. But people lack a plan and they lack these, these goals. Because if you have a goal, you understand that sweat is not an indicator. There are sessions that you're not sweating at all. There are sessions that you're sweating more. So, like, the best way I can explain it is, like, let's take this American hard work concept. Okay, like, you need to work hard to succeed. Like, it's not American, but it came out with the coaching, and like, you have these celebrities. I'm the hardest working in the room. If you go to sleep, you will see me pump because I want. And okay, people, this kind of perverted thing about productivity and success. And it's the same as I tell you, listen, Danny, I can teach you how to make the same amount of money in working just 3 hours per day. And you're saying like, no, man, I need to work hard. Like, I need to be successful. I'm going to do like my McDonald's shift, and I'm going to wash some cars, and I'm going to like, I want like this 12, 14 hours like work, and I want to make the money. Fine. We both move, living like door to door neighbors. I work 4 hours per day. You're doing your 14 hours per day, and we earn the same. And eventually begin to hate me kind of, because like what you're stealing, you're fraud, like you're not real, you're a phony because you do not work hard. And I said, listen, man, like, this is not a success. Pushing hours doesn't equal success. Okay, like, work for results, not for hours. Okay, and I can teach you, like honestly, you can do it too, because what is success is the outcome. And if you can get this outcome with less effort, why should you? And if you must go, let's talk about, then we need to talk about psychology, because then you have another need which we need to meet, maybe, and maybe you're right.
So that can be used, like the financial metaphor you just gave can be used in the gym.
Absolutely.
Minutes in the gym.
Of course. Like, why? Like, eventually, have you lifted more pounds on a barbell after all this time that you've spent? Yes or no? And people like, yes or no? No. Done. I've lifted more. I train half time as you are. And I feel fine because I have, like, time to go whatever, like, to live. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to, and again, then we're talking not about physical performance. Then we're talking about emotions, and we talk about inner stuff. And then it's a completely another topic, discussion, and programming.
But why do you think we have this brain barrier, like I'm aware of that I have, that it needs to be 60 minutes or 0 minutes? Like, why is that difficult for us to? Is it because, if I do 15 minutes of mobility only, in air quotes, there's nothing tangible for me to see
Yet,
as
immediate.
as evidence for my hard work of 15 minutes put into this, my discipline to dedicate 15 minutes to one thing, versus if I went for a run for 15 minutes, my neighbor will see me sweating, he'll say, well done for going for a run. I'll feel that's nice because I'm sweating and I need to go and shower, and it's very obvious, to all of my senses that I have done it. I might even, if I did 15 minutes of mobility in my day to day, I might even forget that did I even work out today?
Well, it's now the better, like the not the better question, but a beautiful question to ask. What is your emotional needs to feel this external, to bring this external manifestation of your like being alive, being productive, being useful, like fit, like where it come from? Like where does it come from? Why can't you sustain and accept that it was a good practice? Because it's just one practice among the chain of endless day that you will, do, and you will.
Maybe because I have no plan. Maybe because I have no fitness plan. Because
Mm,
for me, because I do have a very ambiguous long-term plan,
mhm,
but no targets along the
mhm.
way. But what I do have maybe is I have a minimum baseline,
Of course.
that if I'm below the minimum baseline, and I know by waking up in the morning, I know exactly where I am, doing a warm up for a run, I
Mhm.
know how the run is going to be.
Of course.
So I think it's just something that will disappoint me immediately, knowing I'm below the baseline, because it's so obvious to me when I am below the baseline.
But what is the baseline
The base,
in the first place?
yeah, I think it's a level of feeling. Because my baseline is not if I, ran 5 miles in 20 something, like in a
Mhm.
specific time. It's never that. It's more how heavy I felt, how quick I felt, how light I felt, um, how much of a mental difficult, if maybe that's it now that I'm thinking out loud, is, because once if I do reach a certain threshold of a workout, it does kind of disassociate everything that was it takes over whatever was in the brain before then.
Mhm.
Once something becomes, a certain level of difficulty, whereas if I spend 15 minutes doing mobility, or some stretching exercises, which even when I do those, even pushing myself in air quotes to get to fully be dedicated to the discipline of doing whatever it is,
Mhm.
because I'm not killing myself, I can still almost afford to let in other thoughts. What am I going to eat after I finish? Or what I need to do? Did I finish what I had to do before the workout?
Mhm.
Should I get back to it after the workout? Whereas if I'm on a run, I'm on a run, and I'm not thinking about dinner.
No, it
Like,
is. Like, first, it sometimes, if you think about it, why do we need to prove ourselves to ourselves? Why can't we just feel okay with doing 15 minutes? What is there?
because okay, so because I know that taking a day off from, if we're talking about workouts, taking a day off is super easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Taking 2 days off is very difficult because it makes day 3 more difficult. Taking three
True.
days off makes day 4 more difficult. But deciding to take day 2 off is way easier than deciding to take day 1 off, and deciding to take day 3 off is way easier than deciding to take day 2 off. So I know how easy it is to slip into the spiral, and every single person I meet is complete evidence to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. First of all, some of it has to do with procrastination, because the moment I stretch my workouts in the gym, I'm not dealing with my life, with my wife, with my job, with my monetary issues and stuff. So sometimes we have this justification that I really like need it. And sometimes we kill ourselves because, okay, like we want to feel accomplished and we want to feel okay. And, it comes from the school and from like parenting that you need to finish like 1, 2, 3. And we were raised that, and actually we were raised upon bodybuilding uh, framework, which
Our
takes,
entire fitness mindset.
yeah, which like, listen, Schwarzenegger built it single-handedly. All right, because whoever practiced parallel, and you know what, this is an anecdote, because really Schwarzenegger, like, he's a great man. Like, for like, to me, he is the GOAT in that sense. And he created, and every fitness installment resides on our physiological structure, that yes, to finish this bodybuilding split and to really load muscles for growth. Now you see, we're putting goal there. I'm spending, like, as a bodybuilder, 40 minutes because this is the minimum. Like, I can spend less, but this is the minimum time that it takes me to complete all my muscle groups and make my body grow. So subconsciously, I'm working towards somebody else's goal that he implied. If you take powerlifters, they spend about 2 to 3 hours in the gym, weightlifters, because the physiological demand of the sport. You cannot do less because you need to really warm up. And it's now, these like lifts are dangerous. Powerlifting, heavy, weightlifting, quick. You can get injured really quickly. So you need to prime up your nervous system. You are moving a lot of weight. Your nervous system must recover. Nervous system recovers within 7 to 10 minutes. So basically, like, you have fun one set or one exercise, it's almost an hour. 2 to 3 exercises, you have 2.5 hours of training. In bodybuilding, it will ruin you. It will send you into a muscle, ruin mechanism, working over the hour, because like this catabolism work, and like your muscle cannot sustain this physiological stress that induces muscle growth. In powerlifting, is not enough unless you do just one single exercise, and maybe you'll have enough time to load it. Because when you're really like good lifter, and there are many plates on a barbell, just the warm-up, a proper warm-up, not to injure yourself, will take you about half an hour. And then you just begin to ramp up sets. In kettlebell sport, we are done in less than an hour, like, depends on what you do sometimes, which is fine. So these concepts are kind of stuck in our heads. And the second thing, it's coming for control. Because if you own the practice and if you have control, like, control is the ability of going in or out of practice without feeling bad about it, without any additional emotional cost of regret, of embarrassment, or self-beating, that's like, I'm losing where I am, who I am, and I'm fine. I do, and this is the true control. Otherwise, you're not controlling. Okay? Otherwise, you're so afraid to miss one day or one workout that your all, perception of yourself is in danger. Because, like, I never missed a workout in a day. Like, I never ate a donut. Like, I don't know, like, I'm eating donuts, I'm fine, I'm indulged, and I love them. Like, and I have control not to eat them constantly day by day. And I love, a good cigarette, I love a good alcohol. And again, I have this control over the situations that it doesn't, like, I don't become a chain smoker or an alcoholic. I can stop training for some time, some period, and then I go back and I ramp up, and I've completed participated in many events, sometimes simultaneously preparing for several, and it worked fine. And then I haven't like swam for some time or didn't run for some time, and it's fine.
And did you learn this though? Did the switch come for you when you were training for that half Ironman?
And what you mean by switch?
The switch of maybe understanding this concept of less is more in training.
Uh, it came before actually. It somehow, I believe, it came during my kettlebell sport journey, like this iron meditation. It's meditating with under the bells that you understand that, like, when you have a specific goal and you finished, like you do really have this. You understand that whatever work that you're going to do is you don't need it. So again, the question you ask yourself why. Like you have this
Why
goal.
am I doing this?
Yeah, like you have, like I have a goal to like finish 10 minutes of whatever long cycle. I've done my training for the long cycle. Why do I need to do my shoulders raises? Like why do I need to do like pull-ups? Okay, what will heavy barbell squat do for me? For kettlebells, nothing. All right, I just compromising, and again, we're coming back to psychology. Subconsciously, I begin to self-sabotage, to compromise because I'm afraid what can I become and how far can I go. So we like put these things, yeah, because I need to do. And then when we get injured, we kind of, oh, you see, like now I have this
Yeah.
meaningful excuse, like, I've did, but now
So
I'm
yes, so,
injured.
so you think we kind of we do subconsciously realize our potential and we do subconsciously sabotage our
Of
potential?
course, it's the light in us that is frighten us. Okay, like obviously, like you take any people and you see it day by day, because it's really easy. Like shifting this mindset, it's hard work, and it needs like time. Why people who practice yoga does it for the same thing. This grueling asana of being there, breathing there, it frees your mind, to go other places. In lifting, it doesn't happen because, like barbell, like lifting, like weights, barbells, it's internal. It's more of a selfish practice. You're learning yourself. Kettlebells, because it's the ballistic tool, it's external. You need to go out of yourself and listen to your environment, okay, and to lose yourself, to be more connected, and then you begin to
Not
like
that
see.
not that I'm doubting the
Yeah.
differences, but why? Why the difference? Why is if I did a certain barbell exercise,
Mm-hmm.
why is that within, and if I did something else with a kettlebell, why is that more external?
Not something kettlebell sport. Now this is I need to
The
be very
sport specifically in
yeah
terms of
sport
the endurance stuff.
in terms. So
Okay,
here's the
yeah,
thing: when we're doing
yeah.
barbells, okay, the barbell is heavy and it moves on a strict vertical line. This is why we call it inertia, like inertic tools, because it moves the moment that I apply force. I move, barbell moves. I don't move, barbell don't move. And when you need to rack the barbell, you need to squat. And we're talking again about weights, okay? We're going like powerlifting and bodybuilding. I need the self-awareness inside. I going like being selfish in a good way, okay? I I want my
Mm.
shoulders to grow. I need
Activate,
to
squeeze.
feel this muscle. I want to feel the segment. In a barbell, boy, you would better be selfish because you need to brace. You need to like understand what you're doing. It's all about me, how I do, and then you raise the bar. Kettlebell is inertic. It has inertia. It's absorbed energy. It moves, and it creates forces on you, and it's not that heavy. So unlike heavy barbell, even 32 kilo kettlebells, you need to be really, really dumb to injure yourself. Like super dumb. Uh, because, come on, like if you're a fit person, you'll do it like one snatch, you'll say, oh shit, like, oh, it's heavy, and you won't. If you're suicidal, kind of, you will do it until you rupture your shoulder, but it's a complete different topic. um, so it's not that heavy to really injure you, unlike deadlift. So
Yeah.
if you mess up, if you slip, like if you think about something else in deadlift, you can get with broken spine. Within 10 minutes set, if you lose 2 reps in snatch, even with 24 or 32, nothing will happen. Like injury wise, yeah, you will pull your skin. It will be, oh, like damn. But nothing will happen dramatically, unlike in squat or like heavy.
Yeah.
But to move the bell, it's this interesting thing happens. You need to listen to her for her to reflect upon you what you're doing, so you can do it more efficiently and effortlessly, again, to move her. So you're constantly having this conversation that is outside. And this is what communication is all about, is what relationship is all about.
Because the kettlebell likes to move in a very specific way.
Yes and no. If you want to make as much reps as possible, and this is what we are talking about, even for your own ego. So you see how beautiful, eventually it comes down. So if you want to succeed, you help me. Like if I invest in you, eventually I'll rise up too, okay? Because I'm invested in you, okay? What Danny needs. Same with kettlebell. If I want to become a champion, I need to move as efficiently as I can. To move as efficiently as I can, I must transfer all my intention, on my attention to the kettlebell, to really feel how she falls, how she moves. And because she reflecting, like the way she moves in is the way I move, because kettlebell don't move by her own self. I did something with my body and it sent her there. So it's constantly this conversation, like I did that, okay, it's too much force. Okay, too little force. Okay, this is enough. And then you learn how to recreate it. So the more you go outside and you hear, like listen to the bell, she will, okay, return, and she will allow you to do more and more and more and more reps. So this is how you come externalists, external attention to your environment.
But is that how it maybe clicked in a way for you, or started to click when you were just spending all that time alone, focused on her? You've been using she's a female, the kettlebell for you.
Yeah, she is, actually, because if you, like, again, we're talking to move kettlebell for multiple repetitions, okay? Same as you cannot force yourself upon a woman, okay? First of all, it's illegal. Second of all, nothing good will come out of it. You cannot force yourself on the kettlebell if you want to move her for reps, because eventually, like, she won't break you, but she will break you. You will put the bell after, like a couple of minutes, arms bleeding, back hurting, shoulders aching. Nothing, okay? You tried your way. You tried the barbell way. In barbell, it works, okay? Because it's about me. I braced. I knew how to rage and ramp up, and boom, it went up. In kettlebell, I used the same rage. She went up, but instead for 100 repetitions, for about 20, and that's it. She's on the floor, and then you understand that it won't work. Okay, muscling up, forcing myself won't work. Like in life, okay, we cannot force anything anyway. Then you come to an understanding that actually the more you give up, the more you move aside, the more it becomes about her and not about you. Things begin to move kind of effortlessly and
I
in
know,
good direction. And you're saying like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. And every time I've been there, usually when I'm fatigued with a kettlebell, you start becoming more efficient because you have to complete the 12 reps.
Yeah.
And then you start moving your body in a way where you can get the kettlebell up with using less effort. But then I always feel guilty for using those efficient mechanisms because I think I'm cheating in a way.
And again, this is the brainwashing of a system. And it's like we can take it to conspiracy theories, but yes, we are not even primed, but we are kind of conditioned by environment to muscle our way through. While if you're talking about Zen, again, and it's like really hype now. People talk about Zen, but they live by Western cultures. It's the exact opposite. It's the search for the effortless, because it doesn't mean that you didn't do anything. You actually have done much, because to listen to it, to feel it, to understand it, it takes much effort and it takes much practice. Like, a skilled samurai who can cut a person or cut a bamboo with one swift movement of a sword, it's one hell of an effort. It's just not the barbarian, like this axe of and boom, boom. It's another effort, but it is an effort, and it takes practice, and it takes skill, and it takes years, right, to make it just like that.
Yeah.
So when you move so in essence, the less you feel in kettlebell practice, in kettlebell sport, I'm not talking about kettlebell quote unquote fitness or hard style when you want to grind, because it's a different use of a kettlebell.
And that different use does bring it more to the conventional
It brings it,
dumbbell types training.
yes, exactly. It brings it to this to the dumbbell barbell and more endurance stuff. And basically it's the same world. Okay, endurance and strength are yin and yang. They cannot be separated. So again, if you look at the world, like all the troubles and all the wars, because somebody had an interest to, how you say it, no, divergent command, or there is another
As Command and Conquer.
command and conquer, yeah, but you have this like split and rule.
Divide and Conquer.
Yeah, divide and conquer. Okay, divide and
Command
conquer.
and Conquer.
Yeah.
Divide and Conquer. Yeah.
Divide and conquer. Okay, and it was financially very beneficial to people. Okay, to create, because if you want to create something, you need to stand. You need to be different than I am. So you need to take something and take it out of context and pumping it like a main context. And you're breaking the whole. And you cannot break the whole because it's not complete. So any strength athlete knows that if he is not conditioning his heart rate and his heart, eventually his chances of dying of heart attack, because his muscles are his conditioning is weak, they're very huge. Anybody who runs and do triathletes or whatever understands that if you don't have strength, if you're not strong, and strength not in the powerlifting, okay, like we have this perverted and abused concept that we completely don't know what they mean anymore. But if you're not strong, you'll be injured and you won't be able to produce the force that you need to compete. So it's all the same world. If I want to be as a kettlebell athlete, the one thing I always preach is you must have barbell routines in your programming, but it must be programmed. It's not something like chaotic or randomized. No.
Yeah.
This is why periodization is for. This is the long term, and it was invented for a reason. Because if you want to create results, we have plans in our business, we have plans in family, we have plans in educational system. First, kids go through kindergarten, they intentionally learn these topics and not other topics that will allow them later to create and to learn, etc. Same as sport. It's not different, okay? And it was sold sometimes like fun. It was told like, leisure, your spare time, whatever. And again, we need to come and be very clear. What do you want? You want to escape your house, you want to hang out, you need this psychological, you really, and if you're stressed, and you really need this psychological dumping, then yeah, you might go for an hour and work out and do burpees and completely sweat yourself out just to take this plug out of your system, saying, okay, and coming home, okay, be it your family or your dog, calm, okay, nice, not agitated, okay, being human. And it's a very legitimate goal. It's a very beautiful goal because you are mature enough to understand that you work in some environment, you need to, okay, discharge yourself and then continue a different person, and you need a practice. Now, I can tell you that, okay, we can do it. Maybe in less than an hour, we can reach that goal. But simultaneously, we can add like 1, 2, 3. So we can have 4 in 1 instead 2 in 1. And it's up to you to choose if you want to have it or not. Okay, some benefits along this, energetic and psychological dumping and stress relief.
Your back pain, back issues that
Hmm.
you faced, where did that come into your life?
Oh,
Before kettlebells?
oh yeah, it was. We've immigrated, so I was raised by my mother. Okay, the father left when I was 3, and we've immigrated to Israel, and I went.
From the USSR?
Yeah, so like I refer to myself as a child of Atlantis because I don't have a land to go to. Like I am from USSR. I left because before it got dismounted, and originally geographically I'm from Ukraine, but I'm not Ukrainian in the sense that Ukraine is now.
Mhm.
I left when Ukraine was under USSR. It was the USSR regime. It was this mentality. It was USSR. And when I went, it all fell down. And when I was yelled by kids, like, and it's okay because immigration, everybody goes through it and like, go back to Russia. And like, who are you? And I said, I cannot go. Like, I would gladly go, but I can't because I don't have where to go. Okay. And when we came here, I began to work in a grocery shop, vegetables. So I was moving crates and I was 13, 14, and I didn't know how to lift, like, didn't have a day. Nobody taught me. I didn't do any sport when I was a kid and was actually like really sick and really weak. And kind of my back began to hurt, and I was this I almost died when I was 2 years old, 2 weeks old. I had some infection, and doctors told my mother that I probably will dead, so she better be ready. And I haven't died. They brought some antibiotics, they get some shots, and she was stressed ever since. So I was really, really wrapped up like this, kid with, okay, when you sneeze, you're put up hats and socks and everything. So I was raised very, very like, you are weak, you're not like other kids, okay? And it took me some time, to cope past it too. But when my back began to hurt, we went to a doctor. Said, "Yeah, you have like two bulging discs, and here your
As a
disability."
kid, as a
As a kid,
teenager.
yeah, yeah, about 15, 16. So it became kind of a part of my personality,
Yeah.
something to be like special for.
Yeah, and also like as a kid, I remember every stage of school. There's always every school has the couple kids with a back brace or there's something going on
Yeah,
that they're told that they have.
yeah,
And
exactly. Okay, and I was persuaded, and I was no, I cannot lift it, and like I had my back pains obviously until I began to train, and it happened in high school. I met really good teachers who saved my life literally, and they sent me on this journey to help other, and giving them the second chance, like the chance I was given. I
so
was given
what
to give it.
what was that chance?
So we've immigrated, and I had bad time. In acclimation, like in Israel, it was for me. It was kind of surprise, like when we were in USSR in Ukraine. Like I was thinking about America. Like there was some conversation that we might move, and it was the time that the curtain began to fall. So all the Schwarzenegger early movies, Commando, and everything, it began to come, Jackie Chan, and we see, and like you're hearing the concept of America, like this is the land, like this is like things are happening there. And my mom friend moved, and I watched all the movies. This is where my English from, basically, in English, and I really learned like this American culture, and it was for me wow. And I thought, like, I hoped we were going there. I wanted to go there, and suddenly like Israel, and like why and how, and like we had like I knew that like we were Jews, but we never, like Jews, like you're Jew, like you're an Armenian or whatever. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's Israel, and it became, and I met some friends, and I didn't study. Mom working all the time because she needed to pay bills. Here it was completely different scenario than in USSR, obviously, money wise, and I was kind of left to my own devices. I don't know how I didn't. I was kind of a verge of not criminality, but it was very close to which side I fall. And I remember when I finished my elementary school, my teacher, she took me aside It was this, the teacher that governed like the class. And he said, and she told me that I want to tell you something, Michael. I said, yes, what is this? Like, I don't think that anything good will came out of you. And this is how she sent me into the like age of 15 into the world. And my grades were like very low, and I had two choices: go to some designer school, and I've been drawing something. My mom told me, listen, go and draw. And I said, no, there are other school where they teach electricity. I said, okay, electrician is I can work
A real man's thing.
yeah, it's a real man thing. I'll get a job because everybody needs the socket replaced. Like I'll have something, feasible. And it was like luck or God providence, whatever, because it was a like high school for hard kids. Like it was known that every kid with low grades and no like the SATs or like very low um, chance of go to university are coming like public schools, okay,
Yeah.
like where the old movies like Coach Carter movie, like you find these kids. This is what the kids, some of them works with criminal records,
Yeah.
some of them, and there were teachers there. And when I came, it was really my luck because I've met teachers that like really embraced us, and like there was like really people, like amazing people. I remember them, and they told us, listen, you can be whatever you want to be. And what they've managed to do, in my case, they've managed to ignite the spark of self-development. They never like, they taught us, but their goal was to really ignite the spark that every kids have, that you can really do everything and you can be everything, and everything is there, just go and take it. And I finished the best in my class, and like many doors have opened, but I really owed this transformation, okay, this change, this like second chance I had to these people. And I said, okay, like when I grow up, I'll find a way to pass it forward, okay, to take people. I don't know when and how and what, but I really want to do the same thing for them. That's why like the shaking of people, or trying to um, not saving, but trying to prevent you from repeating like my mistakes and unnecessarily things that I've done, and go your way, and like to open your mind to be more aware, like to whatever. So this is
Even
what
just
led
being
me.
acknowledging, like acknowledging some like ideas that you might be self-sabotaging yourself because everyone around you is doing it.
Absolutely. And yeah, and this
But
is,
even that's a big penny to drop on someone.
yeah, exactly. And they told us like, we are here, like if you, like we are here for you, but you need to make the decision that like if you want to live, I can help you, I'll do everything as a teacher, but if you want to die, quote unquote, like I cannot.
So in what capacity do you work with people in this way? Is it one-on-ones?
It's one-on-ones, it's in classes, and it always becomes eventually with all the people I coach. It starts with, okay, I want to get better in snatch or long cycle, and eventually we end up talking about their lives. Because we all, like search, and again, I was talking about the yin and yang, you cannot separate things. Okay, so people share, and I hearing stories, and very few of them are really just goal oriented. Okay, very few athletes are like really coming for, okay, I have this goal, I just want to meet that goal. The moment, and I always opening the door for these conversations. Okay, some people do enter, some people don't, and I'm not pushing, but eventually, yes. And you talk and you begin to understand what moves people, because when people say I can't do it, or I'm cannot go past this like 6 minute and something, eventually the answer is very uh, seldom in physiology, but it's very often is, like your psychology, your mental states, and eventually it comes to these type of conversations. So yes. you're trying to like really enrich people, understand that like the practice is way bigger, and the moment that they're willing to drop this, okay, this hard work mentality, this banging the head against the wall, as an indicator for good workout, for the good practice, okay, chasing the burnout, because burnout does good for people who sell books how not to get burned out. All right, it doesn't do any good for you. And the moment you understand and you see it, that like you are somebody else's puppet eventually, if you live by these concepts, you're saying, huh,
Or many people's puppet.
yeah, Omenius.
How is your back now?
Listen, is always with me. It's always reminding me from time to time, but is way better. Like I've done everything and I do everything, and it's
But since you started working out in high school, then and it stabilized itself.
yeah, and it's
But you weren't so special. as you-
no, never. Like for me, I was digging in technique. Like I'm always was this, like the
No,
meaning.
in the sense of special, in the sense of that worthy of people knowing you as the guy with the bad back.
No, people know my story, and I always say like, listen, I know how it feels. The frustration when you're trying and nothing helping you. I've tried treatments and I've tried acupuncture and everything. So the pivotal moment was when again I get this protective spasm that I felt this current running through my legs. It was very vivid. It was scary for a second. And it was like I remember it like vividly as if it's happening now. I was on the right of the bathrooms. I fell on the floor. I laid there with the currents running through my legs, thinking, okay, I'm going to lose my legs now. Okay, like we're living on the first floor. I need somehow to crawl. Will I keep my arms to crawl and open the door? And then we don't have the ramp, so wheelchair over there. So like these thoughts were coming through my mind. And I was lying there like perfect. And then it hit me that nobody is coming. Like nobody will help me but me. And like I'm lying there, the floor is cold, breathing, and slowly this burning sensation takes off. And I begin like moving. I said, okay, one leg is moving, second one, okay, still have my legs. Then I texted my friend, Gail, and said, listen, do you have this book about the movement system? He said, yeah, send it to me. And this is the first time that I really went deep into the practice of reading the book, trying to understand what is not written between the words, doing these exercises. Now it was funny because I was humbled, sorry, not humiliated. I was humbled by it because by then I was a coach. I did my certifications. So nothing in this book was new for me. So I was like, come on, again, I know this stuff. But this time, after having this back seizure, I said, no, now you really go into this. So I needed to surpass my own ego, okay, and my own ignorance or like blindness. But yeah, I know these exercises, like I've done them, they work, they don't work.
Yeah.
So it surpassed everything, and I did. And for the first time, I felt like I was able to go really deep, and I felt every small thing that moved in my body, in my spine. And from there, I took myself practice by practice, like exercise by exercise, really moving, really digging into this intentionalism of cause and effect, what moves what, really, really, really. And from that point on, things changed.
So starting on a journey, if you're speaking to me, but not really to me, anyone who doesn't know anything about endurance, kettlebell sport, and assuming that person does need help in many areas of their life, why, like, is this formula a good, sorry that I'm using the word formula.
No, formula's fine.
Why is this formula or journey, worth going on? I'm using those words because that's how most of us comprehend. We need to kind of feel the value and see the potential in it, because otherwise we will self-sabotage.
We will. And
So yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. We will, and it happens now. So, like, you have in Zen the 3 stages of enlightenment, and I will answering your question immediately. Okay, the first step, you do something that you're not even aware of, and then you have the results, and you're saying, "Oh, like I did it." Second stage, you are understanding that you're about to do something that will cause these results, and you still do it. The third stage, you recognize this moment that you're about to, and you don't. So, in kettlebell practice, here's the thing. In kettlebell sport in particular, the demanding of standing with the bells and learning to be resilient and learning to endure the pain, because suffering is optional. Okay, we choose to suffer, but pain is objective. Okay, it hurts to some extent. Okay, we are alive. So when you practice kettlebell, you practice life, because you have a one platform that you're standing on. All right, and you have your pair of bells. Okay, and the platform represents the time frame that you are born, your parents, okay, everything, your setup. Okay, this is it. This is your platform, and these are your kettlebells. Okay, you cannot change them. Okay, this is it. This is what we have. All right, and then you cannot place the bells down before the clock ring. This is your lifetime. You can place them down. It's like committing suicide. But since this option is not on the table, then we just need to push on. Now, from this point, this is clock zero. I have 10 minutes to go, or an hour, and I'm going to choose how I want to live my life. Okay? Am I going to be like struggle muscle, or I'm going to harness and listen? And the most beautiful thing and the most really beautiful, humbling thing is the following. When you're standing under the bells, you understand that each repetition is like each day. You have beginning, the middle, you have an end. Each following rep is a new rep. Even if you missed a rep and it didn't come as clean, as perfect, as an efficient, it happens. You need to readjust. You cannot go back. You cannot restart. You cannot get reborn in the different environment. This is what you have. You have this moment, and the only thing that you can choose to make the difference now,
This rep.
and then you do the rest, this rep, and you do another rep, and it's slowly, and the harder it's become, you understand that if you want to survive, let go. And the more you letting go under the bells, the more you feel them. And the more you suddenly realize, what are you working with? Because the moment your muscles are tensed, you don't feel the bells, like not really. The moment you completely let go, you feeling. And then you understand, oh, it's actually pretty easy to push with my feet. And things are happening. So the harder it gets, the more you're getting relaxed, calm, the more you're getting out of yourself. And you're transcend yourself into the bells. So eventually you see just only them, and you feel them.
Her.
Or her, yeah. In a pair settlement, yeah. And
But-
then clock rings, and you're putting the bells down saying, hey, it was a good set. Like, I had a really good life. And I did the best that I can, and it's the best that anybody can do. That's it.
Can that formula also work in running, for example? Like, why is that different? I'm trying to see the difference.
Easy. Because in running, if you're walking, it's okay. First of all, it's legit in every running event. You can walk for some time because nobody judges you for walking.
Mm-hmm.
You crossed your finish line when you crossed it. So you can walk. In kettlebells, you don't have the way
The option.
out.
But if you can create for yourself the circumstances where it's off the table because it's below the minimum threshold.
You need to run.
Because on the kettlebell, because you can still, you're not going to shoot The
Of course,
So
but
in running too, I can set myself a standard of there's no option of slowing down no matter what. Even if an injury, nothing. You don't walk.
yes, but in running, um, okay, in running, what happens that you can run very, very, very slowly, almost like sportive walking.
Recover. Yeah.
Kinda, okay.
Yep.
You can grind it, and it's still kind of running, and you don't have your arms, and it's hard. Psychologically, running is hard, but in kettlebell, since you have your arms and the legs and the bells on over you, and you have this external stress, and these bells are begin to hurt. Okay, so you kind of feeling trapped. Okay, like between the platforms and the bells, and you cannot do this like with kettlebells. There is no jogging. There is no this middle ground because they won't go up. So standing with them for 2 minutes, it's not an option. It's hard. It's almost like not running. So you must make this really huge extension. Swimming is, you have life-threatening situation in swimming, okay? And in swimming you cannot stop. But since it's drowning and everything, like in swimming, actually it's very similar to open water swimming, because you have the waves and you have like this, sometimes the stress and the currents. And open water swimming is very similar actually, okay, to kettlebells. Because even in bike, you can just get off the bike and go walk uphill. Nothing will happen. Okay?
Yeah.
You're losing sometimes. So what?
Yeah.
In water, you stop, you drown.
Yeah.
And let's say nobody will rescue you. Okay? You don't have these events.
Yeah.
So, but it's, now we're talking about formula, we're talking about back to training, no philosophy. It's easier to get yourself to the state, to the physical conditioning state, to practice this type of meditation that I've just described with kettlebell, than you can do with running or swimming, because you need to be a very, very good runner to really take yourself to this place. Okay? And in swimming, you must be a swimmer. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Where
it's,
moving your feet is easy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to run in marathon, and like you need mileage under yourself. So like if you're starting as a newbie and you say, okay, I want to use running as this metaphor, fine, but you'll need to invest about 5 years if you like really want to become
Yeah.
this distance runner.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And in swimming, another 5 years
Yeah.
if you really want to swim the ocean. But in kettlebells, within half a year, like 3 to 6 months, you will experience it, even if it's double 8 or double 12s. You will feel it the way a pro feels it with a 32. So it's like it doesn't makes you, inferior. Yeah, inferior to them, because your struggle is as real as a pro struggle with the 32s. All right, the setup is the same for the both of you,
Yeah.
and
And
it's
do you introduce kettlebells to kids, teenagers? Do you work with the younger generation?
yeah. I try. They come. I give them kettlebells, and I give them as a play. Okay, something like
So that they can learn to move it around efficiently on their own.
yeah. It's like you see, like okay, like you're a hot shot. Okay, let's see if you're doing like 20 reps, okay, or 50 reps. Because I am older than you, I'm supposed to be inferior to you. Like you're young and you're strong, you're in your prime, and I can do twice as much with twice as weight. And then they like hit this wall where I'm not threatening to them, because it's not confrontation between men. It's this iron piece of equipment, and they try and they not succeed. So saying like, and they cannot take it out of anybody because there is nobody. There is nobody there. It's just the bell. And they come to this place that, okay, like, will you teach me? Okay, will you show to me? So they become in a state of an active listening, to absorb something, and say, okay, let me show you, like 1, 2, 3, play with it, and come back to me if you want. And okay, some of them begin slowly to take this practice, and then you're making this slowly transformations that, okay, like the way you focus now and the way you attend this like swing or whatever, do the same with your homework. Okay, like because it's the same effort. It is literally the same. Just instead of bells, open the books, and some of them like, because they never thought about it. Okay, nobody made this connection that the way you lift is the way you live. Okay, is the same practice. Your focus on the deadlift is the same focus as on your kids, your work. It's the same, but nobody sees it because nobody does it. Usually talks about it, and then they discover that they've been practicing this ultra productivity for years. Just nobody told them just to take this spotlight and move it instead of a barbell of platform to the working table to their laptop and saying, do the same sets. Come on, focus and do whatever. Go. And they, and that's it.
And with older individuals, introducing such training to someone in their 50s, 60s, 70s?
There's no problem. The moment that they can move, they can do it. And it's the same practice, easy, but like light whales. Less, obviously, it depending on their skeletal structure. How far can they move? But they're doing the same, and they're doing the same modules. But elderly people need more strengths, and actually, elderly people they need two exercises. They need Turkish get-ups, and they need deadlifts.
Which
And
Turkish get-ups you can start with zero weight.
of course, no weight at all, because it's both a mobility exercise that sustains your body's functional range of motion, functional strengths, and functional mobility, and to be a independent elderly person. This is what Turkish get up do mobility-wise. If you're able to load it, and yes, it's a postural. Like if you like elderly with stiff shoulders, you won't be able to do safe Turkish get up with weight because your shoulder literally cannot let you to get into position. But practice it as a movement, you must. And actually, it saved life to I had a Parkinson lady who had Parkinson, and she called me once and she told me, "Listen, I want to thank you because you saved my life." I said, "Excuse me, but how?" And she began to practice with me. And the thing with Parkinson's, when they fall, they just fall flat on their head and they're open up their head. So they're very afraid to fall because they not some often cannot reach for the phone to call for help, just flatting. And I've tortured her with the Turkish get up. Literally. She hated every moment of it, and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And then she called me and said, "Listen, I owe you my life because I fell. I broke my head. I was bleeding. But this type of movement, if you taught me, I could get myself from the ground, reach my phone, and call the ambulance." To thank her. And said, "Wow, like my pleasure." This is
So it's the small things. It's like the strength and coordination not to miss a step.
Yeah.
Could be the difference. So what was the second exercise? You said the first one was Turkish get-ups?
And the second one is deadlifts. Because deadlifts anybody can do safely, even elderly people, and it builds overall strength and explosive strength. And elderly people lose explosiveness. So most of them cannot walk, not because that they have insufficient muscle mass in the legs. They're just not fast enough to resist the gravity force that keeps them in the chair. So the moment they practice this quick, athletic, almost plyometric movements, they life quality, it's exponential. And they must have, so the older you get, the more of a powerlifting / bodybuilding style your training become, because you want to sustain this muscle mass. Okay, you must. But we're talking about, if you're just starting 70, 80, this is what you do. And you have this beautiful movement in America, at least what we're seeing, these powerlifting gyms where the grandpas and grannies coming like, "I'm 90 and she's deadlifting 100 kilos." And you're saying like, "Wow." And I get off the medication and and the lady is 90. You're saying it's amazing. What plain, very simple, basic strengths work do, because the specific sport kettlebell movements are not for them. They don't have the spine, they don't have flexibility, and honestly, they don't need it.
But do you work with people in that
Yeah,
capacity outside of like endurance and
of
doing? Yeah,
course,
yeah,
of course,
yeah.
of course. I'm doing this. That's what I said. Like the intentional lifting is, yeah, I am huge advocate of basic barbells, and my programming usually they are hybrid. They including the barbells and the kettlebells and kettlebell sport. When we have some event, it become more specific. Sometimes become less specific, but it's the subtleties of programming for the individual and in like the period we are in.
Yeah. We have a new tradition at the end of the episodes.
Yes.
So hopefully I caught you by surprise here. What is one thing that maybe you thought that was one way and you just completely changed your mind over from the past, and it can be in your personal life, professional life, really anything you choose to, but really trying to hone in on the point that all of us, no matter who we are, how much we read, how much experience we have, we always have these new aha moments where we're faced with new things and we think, I can't believe I thought this way up till yesterday.
Yeah, it is a beautiful question. Um, yes, I have. I have several of those, but if you're asking for one,
Can choose the next one or give me a reason to invite you back for
of
another
course,
one,
all
right?
right. um, what I've learned working with, actually, you know what? I won't go for this, classic drama of my depression cycles and what Kettlebell taught me, but let's keep it for the second episode. But what my coach, like what I experienced working with my coach, preparing for the championships, is that I wanted to quit. There is a time when you're like going and you're beginning to getting close to your goal that it's the hardest. And at these times, okay, you want to quit because I'm tired, your body is broken, everything is aching. Psychologically, you're fed up. You understand, okay, I've almost done it. Okay, I don't want to do it. Okay, I want to quit. And if you're able, okay, to harness the will to shut up and just go beyond this point, it suddenly it suddenly changes. And then you're boom, okay, you're completing. So every time, and I've begun to notice it. I've saw it in my first championship preparation. I saw it in my second one. I saw it in my half Ironman. And now I'm seeing it in my day-to-day life. So I begin something, and the moment that it's getting nasty, heavy, ugly, painful, whatever, resentful, I just know that, okay, just disregard it and continue.
Stick to the plan.
Yeah. Okay. Just, yeah, exactly. Just make another step because actually what I want to say that you understand, you begin to see that it's literally, it's not getting easier. This is life. Okay. You're going to to your goal. There will be time when it will become ugly or it will be hard and you want to quit. It happened now with me. I have another event I want to submit and I heard my back got a little bit jammed and I was very frustrated. And it happens again. And you understand that this is life. This is what happens. This is how it goes. Okay, so okay, no, stop pretending, stop fantasizing. Okay, this is the reality. Accept it, embrace it. It's fine, and you'll be fine. And I am fine now. So, relationship, you take it. Kids, whatever. Okay, you're going expect before you end this cycle and you starting new one. At the peak, is the toughest because you are really getting primed up and all things come together and it feels like just keep going, stick to the plan.
For anyone out there that maybe feels weak, feels like they should be known as the person that their back hurts all the time, that doesn't really know how to plan an intentional workout for themselves, where do you recommend they start?
Get a coach. Like really, I've tried to do it like DIY. It's always failed. Not because I don't know, because I know too much. And this is often what fails us because we know too much. We know ourselves. And the other person comes very clean and he comes for you and he comes up like he is very objective and sober. And he will tell you to do things that you probably won't like, you won't do. And he will make you do things that you knew, but you never done them. So it works.
It'll keep you accountable.
Yes, because you're outsourcing absolutely. You're outsourcing yourself, and it becomes really easy because you just need to submit, and it makes you accountable. And if you trust now, obviously, if you trust the person, and he went through something to similar things, he will know how it feels because we often mismatching with coaches, good coaches. It's not about profession. And I've had those coaches too, who are professional coaches who coach athletes for results. And I try to communicate that, listen, I have a life, I have family, I have my own trouble. Like I do want to do it, but I don't want the results. I do want to progress, but don't see me as a pro athlete. Don't train me because it won't happen.
Yeah.
And some coaches they don't know how to do it, and other coaches know. They really understand and they feel like you're asking about back. I talking to my students, they're trying to describe it. I said I know how it feels, and we talked. I said, listen, it's when you're scared to go to the bathroom and you're stuck and you cannot let it out and you cannot keep it in because you're scared literally that your back is going to explode. And his eyes lit. He said, wow, you're the first one who got like, what am I going through? I said, yeah, I went through the same things. I know how it feels. And I know that it can be different, and I know what you need to go through and the passion and everything. But yes, I know this fear of going to the toilet because you're absolutely drained of energy to fighting with this, sensations. So in the sense, yeah, if you find a coach,
And you don't need to want to be a gold medal
no,
athlete.
no.
You
You don't have to be like
the
professionals.
goals are all for you, personal and tailored towards the person.
It's your quest. Listen, professional sport is not healthy by definition, so it's not the topic. Yeah.
Agreed. And lastly, where can people find more information about you and your programs?
I'm on Instagram. Like this is my if you Instagram for coach, I believe it's the underdash. You say it? No, underscore. Coach underscore Michael underscore give voice sport. I'll pop up and like this is my platform. This is all the tips and some talks, and I talk about the this emotional cognitive like beyond lifting stuff and many tips, techniques about lifting back. Like everything is there. So
And then your podcast that you have as well.
and I have my podcast that is Iron Meditation, is on Spotify, and this is where I talk about absolute different topics, like how lifting again relates to things like
Doing your homework.
exactly. Okay, control, security, self-sabotage, how monetary decisions can sabotage and reflect around on progresses. So these topics that we've touched a little bit, there are there as well too.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for being here again.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure spending time with you.
Likewise.
And we will have a part 2. So I'm looking forward to already. And so that concludes episode 44. Thank you very much, Coach Michael's son.
Thank you, Danny. It was a pleasure.